Okay, let's go ahead and get into the stock market technical analysis. We'll look at a bunch of charts, try to figure out where the markets are going. If you guys are finding value in the content, please drop me a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. It helps the channel. Let's get right into it. Triple Qs. All right, so tech sector. I'm looking at an hourly chart here. You can see we just had a break of support on the hourly chart. So right there, you've got this trend line to follow, and there's a sell signal right there on the hourly. This had negative divergence. Momentum was starting to drop, and we got that sell signal. So triple Qs should continue to fall. However, a couple things. One, we just hit the first level of support. It's right about here. You can see the shelf of support, and we just hit it. So we're getting a bounce off there. I'd expect that bounce, and I'd expect a bounce there at that first level of support. And then also you want to look at SPY, because as the triple Qs is hitting that first level of support, it is on a sell signal. It did break that uptrend line, but it hit that first level of support, and SPY still holding its uptrend line. You can see right here, there it is. There's support right there. So yeah, I'd expect a bounce here, maybe another push up. SPY, probably going to have a little bounce, and then triple Qs, going back to that one, you'll probably see this kind of bounce, maybe even a back test of the trend line. Very possible there. So that's what I've got on the shorter term time frame. If I flip over to the daily on the triple Qs, on the daily, you can see there's your break of, your shorter term breakdown. And then, so that should set triple Qs on the path towards coming down to the more major trend line. It's down here. You can see support, support, support. Down there would be the more major trend line. But again, it's not going to do that till the SPY breaks, the SPY. And the SPY still holding that trend line support. Let's go over to the SPY on the daily chart, and you can see there it is, basically right there. So until both of the indices break, you're not going to see continued downside on either one of them. And that's what's going on today. If I flip over to the S&P 500 heat map, money's coming out of the tech sector and it's going into the SPY, basically going into the other stocks. So there's rotation today. It's not necessarily full on selling. And so the SPY is only going to go so far without the triple Qs, and vice versa. The triple Qs is only going to go so far and without the SPY. So you really need to see both of them break to get that definitive sell signal. And so, yeah, that's what I've got on the charts there. NVIDIA, we're looking at a daily chart here. Again, NVIDIA has this daily uptrend line. It's basically right there. See reactions right there. We're still above that trend line. So no sell signal on NVIDIA. Again, this one needs to break as well. So maybe one more push up, and then we'll look for that break. Again, triple Qs has broken the uptrend line on the hourly. So maybe a back test might be could bring in one more little push up, and then we'll break, and we want to watch the SPY break as well. Google, also kind of interesting. You can see we're in a bearish rising wedge here. Nice, well-defined bearish rising wedge. Negative divergence. Still within the wedge, though, so no sell signal yet. So again, these are all things I'm looking for across the board. I want to see a multiple of these charts really start to show us where the next move is, and we're just not there quite yet. Meta is kind of interesting because Meta did break out to new highs. Again, on Meta, we have this, we had this, it's called an island cluster top, and basically it forms, you gap up, you create an island, and then you gap down. So that's your island because it's created by the two gaps. They did ramp it up into and barely pop the highs just for just a couple days, basically, really one day on the close. And then following that, we were just barely over those highs. And then, boom, you can see today selling down, back down into that range. So I'm still viewing this as a stop raid to this island cluster top. You really don't want to see this thing move much more above those highs right there. If we start getting daily closes back into that same area, back around that 539, 540, right in there, then that's not really something I'd want to see. It doesn't really have much business being back in there, and that would likely negate this as a island cluster top. But as of right now, to see a little pop of the highs like that, just for a couple days, and then fail and fade back down, that's fine. That still signals a potential stop rate. And then on this one, the next thing you'd really want to look for is a break of this trend line support right down here. Support, support, support. A break of that would be your next more powerful sell signal. So keep an eye out on that one. All right, gold. So gold miners obviously moving up today, mostly on the lower than expected inflation, slightly lower. And so the market continues to try to anticipate, or at least today, it's trying to anticipate and price in rate cuts or a rate cut. And so we're seeing those interest rate sensitive stocks kind of moving gold. So if I extend this out, you can see here, I've got a resistance line. We're basically running right into it. And we are, as of right now, still showing negative divergence on this is a divergent high, basically. That was a divergent high, and this is a new divergent high right there. So I think it's actually an objective short right in this area. That resistance line that I get in red, if I move out to the weekly chart, you can see here, kind of rolling out to this one. This comes off of these highs really from back in 2011. You can see there's your weekly. If I zoom in, there's another reaction right there. Okay, there's a close enough, and then right in there, we're basically right at that major resistance line that this thing's been in for quite a while. You know, this is going all the way back to 2011. We're in this big isometrical triangle, and we have not broken out yet. So at resistance on the weekly, and I think it makes and we have that negative divergence. So I think we're going to get a pullback here. Now, obviously, if we break out, that would be, bigger picture stuff that would be potentially significant. But as of right now, we're at resistance. And then here's gold futures, again, moving up today. So again, I think we probably could go up maybe a little bit more, make a divergent high. There's also a potential trend line. I have to kind of change it because these futures move around on you, but right about there. So maybe a pop up into that resistance line overhead, making, continuing that negative divergence. So that's what I see on gold. And just as I've been putting this video together, we did get that sell signal now on the S&P 500. This is the hourly chart. So you can see we've now broken that uptrend line on the SPY. So basically, we have sell signals on the indices. Here's triple Qs breaking that support now. So triple Qs should head down to this next level of support, kind of that more major trend line down around probably around 487, 488. And SPY should continue lower as well. So let's get into some trade ideas since we have some price action movement. Tesla, all right, on the daily chart. You can see here, there's a long-term downtrend line right here. Tesla's not going to be breaking into a new uptrend if the market is just now breaking down. So you can see we popped that downtrend line right here just by a few days. I think it's a false breakout. I do believe it's going to fail and head back down. If I look at the hourly chart, here's the hourly chart, just really short-term stuff. They're still trying to hold it basically right in this area. But a breakdown here should send us down to about 244, and then a break below that would indicate that this price action is a false breakout. Seeing the negative divergence, you can see here's the breakout right here moving up, and yet momentum is dropping off a cliff. Momentum continues lower. So very high probability that this is a false breakout and it's going to fail and head lower. Semiconductors. Okay, so if money is going to start flowing out of tech, which is what we're seeing right now, at least today, then semiconductors are likely going to move lower the most, because this is basically where most of the mania has been at in terms of AI. On SOXX, we have a bearish engulfing candle as of right now. We have a trend line to watch. You can see support did break it a little bit right through here, but ultimately bearish engulfing, and we'd want to see a break of that trend line to help validate that bearish engulfing candle. If we see that, we should see semiconductors come down quite a bit. Also, you can see here, just to help, another indicator that really helps us, negative divergence. You can see right there on the daily chart, you have a divergent high on the semiconductors. So we have negative divergence. We now have a reversal candle or a bearish engulfing. And again, I think that you know, some more downside from here, you're going to validate that as the top in the SOXX. I'm also getting the, I don't know, I'm getting that blue line from. But in general, this to me looks like, if not the top of the market, very close to the top of this push up, at least in semiconductors. Now, we do need to see some more downside to help confirm, and especially just going back to reiterate this, NVIDIA. It's down 5% today, but again, coming down into, you know, into the support right here. So that's got to break. You've got to see that support break. Once that breaks, you should, at very most, see the tech sector really start to take it on the, you know, take it in the back end or whatever you want to call it. But in general, you're going to have tech stocks really selling off, and that's going to put pressure on the market in general because of the market cap weighting. Today we're seeing rotation into other stocks, you know, into the broad market and out of tech, but it doesn't matter because tech is so heavily weighted in the S&P 500. I believe it makes up 30%. We're seeing such heavily weighting in those stocks that if those are selling down, they're just going to drag the market down. Just as they raised the market up, even though, you know, you had most stocks actually have been down in bear markets. Those tech mega cap tech stocks have been moving and kind of raising the whole market in general up, or at least the indices. The opposite will take place if you see the tech sector start to sell off. They'll drag the market down, regardless of, you know, if there's other stocks going up, they're still going to drag the market down. Okay, and I'm going to wrap it up. You can see Tesla's starting to sell down as expected. So again, I think it's a high probability trade that Tesla's going to fail. We've got support down at this blue line right here. It's about 244-ish. We got to break that in order to indicate that's a failure. But I think there's a good chance that happens. So I'm going to get the video out. Guys, drop me a thumbs up. Check out the private member group. Link in the description below if you're interested in that. Catch you guys on the next one.